lost his father, and it was his funeral today. And I watched a little bit of the coverage in the media. I see certain people are going down there to go take a picture. No shit. I just want to know if when they were there, covering murder, whether them tell who where in SSL money there. Because the man them really brazen. Can't tell him what happened to him money all know. Can't tell all the other 200 people who are missing money where their money there. But yet them forward to go profile and take picture of the man father funeral. This man have no shame. No shame. The man brazen, can't tell him what happened to him money. Can't tell the other 200 people what happened to their money. Huh? Now we know. Now we know Peter Bunting. And when I tell you folks that this is one laba mouth man, and between him and Dayton Campbell, I don't know which is worse. Can't help himself. Must laba him out. Can't help himself. By his utterances, what has he revealed to us? We can discuss that in a short while. In the meanwhile, though, let me welcome you to Jamaica 411. Thank you so much for joining me today. Yes, and I want to say, of course, a special big up to my subscribers. And thank you so much for always being here for the channel. I want to send a special big up also to the silent listeners. You've also been here from the beginning, and I'm sure don't miss you. And for you, if you're here with me for the first time, big up to you too. Please remember to subscribe. Everyone, please give the video a thumbs up. Please go ahead, give the video a thumbs up from now on, and share, as well as feel free to leave your comments in the comments section. Of course, I'm very grateful for your kindness, and I want to thank you. Now that the preliminaries are out of the way, let's get down to business. So, with Bunting in Knockpatrick very recently, making his idiotic statement. And I say idiotic because he ought to know that Andrew Holness is not a policeman. He's not a member of any of the units that are doing the investigation in the SSL matter. And yes, he can, of course, ask for the report from these agencies into what has happened to Paul's money, as well as the monies of the other persons who may have lost them. And given what it is that he said, one must wonder if the source of Bolt coming out the other day, when he said he's not hearing anything and he wants to know what has happened to his money, I am wondering if the instigator of his coming out is this man here, Peter Bunting. Did you send a message to Usain Bolt telling him that the money is there, or that the government ought to be doing more to get you your money? Is that what happened? Is you put Bolt up to it? Because if I recall correctly, I didn't get the impression that his attorney, Colonel Linton Gordon, knew that Bolt was coming out to make a statement. So who was he taking advice from? Who was he speaking to? He arranged for an interview, and having got that interview, went on to talk about his money and that the government is not doing enough, right? My impression was that his attorney didn't know that he was coming out to say that, but somebody knew. And here is this man, obviously flustered that Holness turned up at Usain Bolt's father's funeral, where Bolt was, And I think this has flustered him. Flustered him because he was not there. Mark was not there. The chairwoman, Angela Brown Burke, was not there. And Dayton Campbell was not there. None of the vice presidents were there. But who we saw is Wickham McNeil, and we saw Natalie Nita Headley as the MP. I think she must have been the only MP for the PNP present. And then you had the caretaker and you have some other persons, right? Now, the MP for North Trelawney was there. What's her name? Tova Hamilton. It took me a while to recognize her. She was sitting beside Bruce Golding, between Bruce Golding and Babsy Grange, I do believe. And he was not there, he was watching it on TV. If he was watching it on TV, presumably he had the time. Why never got a funeral and represented the party? Clearly, he did not see any political gain in doing so. He didn't think that he had any obligation to go. I mean, who is Usain Bolt and who is his father? Right? So I sat down and watched it on TV. And clearly, understanding the score that he seems to think that Holness um, gained from turning up when they didn't. That must have shook his world. Not to mention the Englishman, who I gather was somewhere else in the island attending another funeral. Now, you will recall how they were on the political platform and set their risers, tongue wagging, talking about Bowles' money and where is Bowles' money and all of that. And here it is that in the young man's hour of need, none of them were there except for Natalie Nita and Wickham. The opposition didn't turn up. None of the high ranking officers. And then on the government side, you have Horace Chang, Babsy, those two, and the Prime Minister turn up to cheers.
Also, in our midst today, we have several government ministers. I'm looking at the Minister of Security, Dr. Horace Chang. We have also former Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Bruce Golding, along with other government ministers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, families and friends. Thank you for joining, and we have entering the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. Now, this time, we will. All right, thank you so much. We will continue with the program with the usage of the opening hymn, "How Cheering Is the Christian's Hope."
The people must have been very concerned when they look and see that, well, Bruce Golding was there, so he would have been a former prime minister. But when they look around and see it's only Chang and Babsy Grange, they may have been very concerned. So when Holness walked in there, he walked into many cheers. Even after he gave his speech, smatterings of claps. But when he arrived, there were cheers. It seemed as if the people were much relieved because, believe me, if somebody of his standing or opposition leader or governor general did not turn up at Usain Bolt's father's funeral, it would have been a very, very low point for the family, given all the sacrifice that the young man made. I mean, he had to work very hard to accomplish what he had to accomplish. many sacrifices he had to give in order to be the best in the world. And he did it for himself, his family, but he did it for us too. And it would have been a shame if only ministers had turned up and somebody of the stature of Andrew Holness or leader of the opposition. Our Governor General didn't. And so the people, I rather think, were much relieved. So Mr. Bunting seems to me to have laba laba his mouth as usual and more or less told us that he would have been the one behind Bolt's intemperate comments the other day. Because nobody's talking about it, he felt a need to come and repeat it to get the refrain going again. Andrew Holness has no shame. He went to the funeral of the father to profile. Huh? The one you never got profile to. He went there to profile and take pictures. He didn't go there like what most people do when they go to funerals. He didn't go in order to pay his respects to the person who passed and to support the family. No, he went there to profile. Right? That the idea that somebody could take up themselves and go to somebody's funeral to profile make me kind of wonder about you, Peter Bunting. Is that what you go to funerals to do? Huh? Profile? How come you didn't go to this one and profile and take pictures too? You should have. You looking to win your seat. So why weren't you there? Why you choose to tune in on television rather than going? You never had nothing to do clearly. So you could have gone. But you didn't. Throughout the whole event, did the Englishman send a message to the Bolt family? Did he? I don't know. But if anybody who watched the funeral heard somebody reading something on the Englishman's behalf, please let me know in the comment section and where it is in the at the funeral that comment would have been made so I can go and listen to it myself. But as far as we know, no such thing occurred. And it goes to show just what Una think about poor black people. Usain Bolt is a star, but then what is that to you? It's just a little country bunking. That's all. It was a tactical mistake that Una made, Una risers. Una had the two funerals looking at, and Una decided to send the Englishman to the funeral of Jigs Ennis. Where was that? In Portland, I do believe. Yes? Not to the one that is in Trelawney with Bolt, not to Bolt's father's funeral. After now, took the whole thing of the man's misfortune in losing his money up and down on political platform. I talk about it, about the Prime Minister for tell him what happened to his money. Clearly, he's going to set up this thing. And so Bunting come now trying to revive it, using the same language that his imbecile risers are saying out there, the bloggers. Where is Bolt's money? Tell Bolt where money is. Oh, Andrew thief Bolt's money. You send them go do that. After I set up Bolt, what happened? Him find Uno out? Did he find out that Uno set him up? So Uno can use him as a pawn in a power hungry game? Is that what happened? It was a tactical mistake. Uno should have sent Mark Golding down to that funeral and show the icon some respect. But Uno choose not to do so. And the question is why? What happened? Does it have anything to do with the fact that he had missed Valrenita Robertson's funeral? And it would have looked bad if he missed this one too. He was late for the funeral of Dr. Winston Davidson. I want to know that eyebrows would have been raised if he had missed this one. So, no, took the chance and hope that nobody would notice. And it might have worked out for you guys, except Andrew Holness went and turned up and messed up the whole thing. When him turn up to cheers.
Thank you for joining, and we have entering the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
That was an embarrassment. I want to know someone in a problem. So you come on the political platform now talk about the man have no shame. A man not have no shame. When we expected some would have shame, right? And don't turn up. That's why I know made that tactical error and not sending that Englishman down there. Because you never know someone was going to turn up. I don't know if him know he was going to turn up. But he did. He was a foreign, came back according to Babsy, ran 5K, put on in, go beard and put on in clothes fast and run come at the funeral. For sure, respect. For a man, he probably didn't know, right? But the man is deserving of respect, especially when you hear all the lovely things that were being said of him. Good man he was. And evidently, his son took after him. And so, Uno were exposed for the idiots that you all are.
At this time, I will lay hands suddenly on a special individual who is here with us this morning. He got up early, well, he was overseas to be robed in his graduation. He got up this morning and did a 5K run, and he quickly changed and made it here this morning. I'm going to lay hands suddenly on the most honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister, to say a few words. Thank you, Prime Minister. Thank you, Minister. May I acknowledge the clergy of this church, members of the both family, Usain, Jennifer, and all the distinguished well-wishers gathered in the church this morning. Yes, the Thanksgiving ceremony is always a time of grief. And as I entered the church and I shook Usain's hand and I looked him in the eyes, I saw his grief. But I want to say to you, Usain, the entire nation mourns with you. The entire nation embraces your family and surround you with prayers at this difficult time. As I sat there trying to collect my thoughts, I immediately looked up some of the things you said about your father. And in an interview, you said that my father didn't speak much, but when he spoke, he listened. And I believe that summed up the character of the man. See, I got you saying this smile. I believe that summed up the character of the man. But Usain also said that whatever I am today, it was because of my parents. He gave credit to his parents. It is not easy to be a world champion. And I'm certain that it would have taken Usain's village to raise him to become this world champion. But it all started in the home. And so I decided to accept the late invitation to speak and not to stay too long because it's a long list of persons giving tribute. But Usain is a global icon, a national hero, a national asset, and every Jamaican is grieving with Usain and his family at this time. So I thought that as Prime Minister, I have the duty and indeed the responsibility to speak on behalf of the country. I see both members of the opposition and members of the government gathered. So I take the privilege to speak on behalf of the political class to say, Usain, we love you, we care about you, and in this time of grief, please know that we are all here praying for you and the comfort of your family. God bless your family, Jennifer, and your brothers, sisters, and your entire family. Church, hold your hands over Usain and pray for them. God bless you and thank you.
And this is what this imbecile is saying, that Honest went there to go profile. Just a few minutes speech. What, 2 minutes, 3 minutes? To comfort the family as the Prime Minister of the country for a young man who represented the country. And he's saying that Honest should not have been there. He not have no shame because of money. Goes to show you how he thinks. Because of money. And some thief took the young man money. And the government don't know what happened to the young man money. Right? Him should not have been there. Brazen. He not have no shame. These are his language. And yet, he could have been there. Why didn't he go? Not up and Harris enough. Ordinary little black boy. All him can do is run. Right? And so him never think that it was worth his time to go and give support to the family for somebody who represented his country. And it's not surprising because he, Peter Bunting, is a Judas and a traitor, right? To his party and to his country. And therefore, he wouldn't see any reason why he should go to a funeral like that. And so when Holness turned up, it must have been a shocker, and he would have seen the political implications of that because the PNP was not well represented. Yes, we had one MP, and we come at Neil, who is the caretaker. And so all he could do, because there was nothing to be done, was to come on the political platform talking about Holness as if Holness is the one that is responsible for the missing money. He's the head of the government. Other agencies are there to carry out their functions under the law. And if they fail, right? And the security force, that's their job, and auditors, forensic auditors, to find out where the money gone. Honest can't give Usain Bolt any update. But I doubt that Usain Bolt was concerned about money at his father's funeral. The young man was clearly in distress. Couldn't even sit upright. Right? His father's death affected him a great deal, and all you can come talk about money. Huh? Callous and unfeeling and insensitive. Riding on a young man's popularity. to get a forward for yourself in your political ambition. And that's all that you have to offer. And you want to turn prime minister and go sit on one side. If there ever was a political dunce, you're looking at it. Made a huge political blunder. This funeral would have been watched by thousands and thousands and thousands of Jamaicans, both PNP and JLP, because it's Usain Bolt. And they made a huge mistake in not sending the leader of the opposition there. And then, to cover the mistake, he has opened his mouth and compounded the matter. But they don't care about what people think, They only care about what PNP people think. That is a captive audience that these risers are focused on manipulating and molding them into whatever it is they want to mold them in. Right? That's all they're interested in. They don't care about the rest of us. They don't care about what we think. They care about ensuring that those comrades stay the course. And so they are prepared to lie, deceive, misinform, engage in disinformation. And at the end of the day, it will never work because the truth will vanquish any lie. And therefore, when it comes to the outcome on election day, they're in for a rude awakening.
But then again, it's the same man who can't get his statutory declaration certified year after year after year. I think HG helps write an article today and say in any other country in the world, he would have been longer.
But he isn't. He is still very much there. And despite all your efforts, all your Machiavellian master strokes and machinations, he is still very much there. Anyway, folks, let me know what you think in the comment section, please. I would appreciate that. And I also appreciate you joining me today. And I want to thank you for doing so, for sharing, for liking, subscribing, and leaving your comments in the comments section. Until next time, take very good care of yourselves and walk good.